welcome to Our Japan, your hub for all things Japanese. I'm Kiyoshi, and with me as always is Rosa. How's it going, Rosa?
It's
How have you
going.
been?
It's going good. I finally have my internet back. That was not fun, for sure.
Your internet was wonky. What was going on? What was the problem?
Oh well, the lovely customer service. Okay, so my internet went out, and so that was like on a Saturday, I think. And so I did a chat thing with the company on Monday, and they were like, okay, we'll do like a test to see what's going on with your internet. And they're like, okay, we'll do the test and then we'll get back to you. And a few days pass, no one gets back to me. It's Thursday, so I'm annoyed. So I call, and they're like, oh, we just got the result of the test. It seems that there's a problem with your connection, like the actual line. So we're gonna need to set up like a person to come in person and like check the installation of it or something, blah blah blah. So
Gotcha.
they're like, okay, so we'll give you a call with like to set up the appointment, because you have to be at home. And so again, that was Thursday morning. No call. Then it's Monday morning, and again I call because by now it's been like almost 10 days or so.
10 days.
Yeah,
Jesus.
10 days without internet. And so I was tethering my computer to my mobile phone. Like,
That's got to be rough.
yeah, and like it used up all my data for the month. So, but you need to have the internet to like get stuff done, right?
To live these days, yeah.
Yeah. And so I call them Monday morning, and again, somehow miraculously, oh, we just got the result. I'm like, what result? You guys told me you got the result last week on Thursday when I called you. What's this result that you just got? And they're like, oh, well, we checked it again, and there's no problem with your line, so it must be your modem. And I'm like, why did this happen? Because nothing has changed since Thursday till now. Like, why was it a problem with my line at first and now it's a problem with my modem? And they were like, oh, you on Thursday, she had you go through like the reset steps to reset the modem and all that. So that the connection must have been loose, like to the modem. That's why it showed up as the line problem. I'm like, I didn't do any reset steps on the phone with her. I did those on Monday before I even called you guys. I went through all the reset steps during, the modem and this and that. Like, yeah. I did, like, I unplugged it, I replugged it. I did all those on Monday. Nothing happened on Thursday. So, back to my question. What is going on that suddenly it was the line issue and now it's the modem issue? And then they're like, oh, sorry, we don't know how that happened. I'm like, if you guys had told me this, if you'd realized it's the modem issue by Thursday, then I could have had the new modem by today, couldn't I? And they're like, oh, and the soonest we can have it to you is on the 23rd, which was 2 days ago, finally. And I'm like,
wow, you just got it fixed 2 days ago.
Yeah. So, I know we were planning on talking about a pretty light topic, but in light of recent events, recent as in today, the day we're recording, and not the day you guys are listening,
Sure.
I think maybe we should talk about abortion.
Abortion?
Yes.
Well, in Japan?
Yes, in Japan and in the States.
Yeah. It's very appropriate. It'll still be in the headlines a week from now.
I'm sure it will.
2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now, forever. So it'll always be appropriate.
So I got up today and checked my social media, and like all of my friends were, of course, posting about the overturning of Roe versus Wade, right? And just unbelievable and shocked and just speechless. Like what has been going on for you, like around you?
The same thing. I woke up. I heard something about somebody tweeted that tomorrow Roe versus Wade will be overturned, and I guess I haven't been keeping up or I haven't been paying attention to that. I did not know that it would be coming up this quickly.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, okay, I'll go to bed, wake up, see what happens, and yeah, lo and behold, it fucking happened. It's a very horrible thing. I can't believe it either. I'm just as shocked.
So
I don't know if I'm in disbelief. I mean,
at this
being
point,
in this country,
you're like,
anything could happen.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's gonna happen. But I think it just came up on me, and when I didn't expect it, and so now I'm like a little flabbergasted.
And I think especially like for us, like living most of our lives in California, like that just seems like no way could something like that happen, right?
Yeah, for what it's worth, the governor of California tweeted that he would, abortion is still legal in California because that was a federal thing, right? So he's like, I guess we're a sanctuary state. So if you need an abortion and you live like in Texas, come on over to California. We will give you sanctuary.
But so
it's still horrible, man. But
like
at least we got that.
If I think, is it accurate that like I think I heard something about like if you're caught going to another state to get an abortion, you're still you can get in trouble.
Yeah. I don't know how they enforce stuff like that. Like, how do you prove that you went to another state to get the quote unquote operation done? And get I don't know. Like, I just do it stealthily, carefully, pretend like you're visiting a friend. I think there are resources out there where somebody on my Facebook page was like, hey, if anybody needs some dental work, quote unquote, you're free to stay at my place. So there's a lot of people here that are giving that option to people.
It's just ridiculous, like the effort that is now going to be spent. Like if they're saying you can be prosecuted for even going out of state and doing that, so that means they're actually going to spend effort on trying to find people who have done that, right? Like of all the things,
to try to police your body, police what you do
of all
with
the
your body.
things that like you could be turning the resources and effort and time and money towards. Like this is the thing that they choose to, like,
unbelievable.
It's appalling.
That is an understatement. It's beyond appalling.
Do you, by the way, do you know about like what the laws are in Japan regarding abortion?
I'm very ignorant on the laws regarding abortion in Japan. I know very rudimentary knowledge about that type of stuff.
I actually didn't really like know either, but this situation got me interested to see what the situation is here. Unfortunately, it's not the best here either, because
that's the extent of what I heard. It's not great in Japan either.
Because there is that aspect of like I believe still even now you need like your spousal agreement to get an abortion.
Spousal meaning the male
partner, and
right?
even if they're not a spouse, you need to get the father's agreement, apparently. And up until very recently, this was also needed for even if in a situation if you are raped, which is obviously not cool. Like you have to go back to your rapist and ask.
That is so fucking
it is
ass backwards.
It is, but
so disgusting.
Thankfully that has recently changed. But the problem is, as you know, Japan is very, very by the book and by the manual, right? So there's a lot of hesitancy to change anything. So even though it's not legally required to get the father's approval in the case of like an abuse or rape situation, a lot of doctors still will ask for it because they're afraid of being sued apparently by the father, which
is that the
which
thing?
is really weird because there's not really much suing going on in Japan.
You don't hear a lot about that.
Yeah, like
I mean, they're not a sue-happy country like us.
Yeah. Like there's very like.
So do you think that's just an excuse then?
I think it's
Perhaps it's a different reason.
I think it's a combination of several things. I think one, it's this general aversion to like having to do things differently that you can find.
Oh yeah.
You know, in a lot of aspects of bureaucracy in Japan, like all the forms that you have to fill out, like double, triple, all by hand. Like, you're like, you have my address and phone number on file. Like, why do I need to fill it out 5 more times here? But, you know, you have to do it because that's what you do. That's what the rules say you have to do, right?
Japan loves bureaucracy.
Yes, and paperwork.
Loves, quote unquote, loves. Oh my God. Have you ever seen the movie Ikiru?
No. What's that about?
Akira Kurosawa. It's about a guy who's, you know, he finds out he's like dying. He wants to, you know, the name Ikiru, the word Ikiru means to live. And so, I mean, he tries to go out and live his life as best as he can before he dies. But one of the aspects of it is he works at like a kuyakusho, which is, what's the English translation for that?
It's like a
county
city ward office.
Yeah, like a city ward office. So it's it has to deal with a lot of bureaucracy, and these women in the neighborhood try to get like I forgot the specifics, but like get like a park built or something like that.
A what?
They have to go through all these, like a park, like a city park.
Oh,
or
park
something.
built, yeah.
Yeah, and so they have to go through all this paperwork, and they go to one guy, and he's like, you got to kick that you got to go upstairs to deal with that. So they do that, and that guy there tells them, you got to go to this place to do that, and then they go to that place, and they tell them the same thing, like you got to go here to do that, and then so the message of the movie is definitely that bureaucracy sucks. Don't be like this, Japan. And then that movie was made in like the early 50s or something like that. So
I was gonna say this is like when?
Yeah, it's been sitting for 80 years. Nothing has changed. Bureaucracy has gotten worse.
Changed.
Nothing has changed. It's changed, but for the worse. It's changed badly. So we got
because there's more stuff
bureaucracy.
To keep track of.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, why? Why is that a thing in Japan?
So, like the whole like getting permission thing, right? So,
yeah.
Even if like even in situations where it's like I've encountered very strange aversion to doing things that are like not the way you were told you're supposed to do. And so that's a very, very big thing, right? Like one example that really like has stayed in my head for like years now. I was at the dentist's office and I had eaten a grape and like I chewed the grape seed and like the grape seed, I chewed it and like a part of it got stuck between my teeth, right? And it was bothering me because, you know, it's stuck there and I couldn't get it out. And I went to the dentist's office and I forget what the exact situation was, but like I was asking him, oh, could you like pull the floss like from the other direction? Like not from this direction, but like from the opposite direction? You know what he said? He said, we're not supposed to use floss that way.
What way?
Just the opposite direction. You mean like
the opposite direction?
Yes.
What?
I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like,
that's weird. What kind of rule is that? What rule book are they following?
Basically, his thing was
Japan. We only floss from to the right.
Yeah. Like it's that level of Can't be. No. it's supposed to be done in this direction only. I'm like, yeah, but you can just do it. It's just floss. It's not like, what do you mean?
Was it because of like it would be a danger to like another tooth, the tooth next to it?
No,
or
no.
a danger
It's
to the
floss.
gums? Like, is there a reason? Did they give it like a reasoning?
No. There's no
Just that
reason.
in the Japanese dental
In Japan, there is
rule book,
no
they give
reason.
out-
Reason does not exist in Japan. You must not ask for a reason.
Yeah, that rigidity of like the Japanese societies, it's so nonsensical.
The worst thing you can do is ask why, because that requires
It's the way
logic.
we've been doing it forever. We've
Yes,
just been doing
exactly,
it this way for
exactly.
5,000 years or whatever.
And that does have good parts, like in the sense of like the arts and tradition, and like
Yeah. There's adaptation. Though.
we
You gotta
just do
adapt
it
to that.
because we've been doing it this whole time, and now we have this beautiful thing that we do. And
Yeah, when it comes to
that's
like
it,
wood
right?
carving and
Yeah.
sword making, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. But like when it comes to flossing your patient's teeth, like go ahead, change the rules, fight the power, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, even with this internet thing, like, I was like, okay, well, can you get it to me quicker? Like, if you ship it out today, I will get it by tomorrow. And they were like, no, the earliest is the 23rd. And that was like 3 days away, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, can you talk to the person who's going to be shipping it and tell them to ship it early? Like, who do I need to talk to like, this is not, somebody is doing it, right? Like somebody is in charge of the shipping of the modems, right? Like can you just talk to them and have them talk to whoever needs to be talked to get it out earlier? Because you guys screwed me over for 12 days. And they were like, nope, can't do it. It's like nothing we can do. I'm sorry. Like that's just the thing that sometimes drives me crazy about dealing with things here. But going back to our
Going back to the topic, yeah.
main topic, yeah. So there is that unfortunate like old style thinking, and I especially think for Japan it comes from it being a very male dominated society, and even now there's like the family registrar, and the male is the head of the household, right? If you're married. So, and if you're not, like your own household, obviously, but if you get married, like there is that hierarchy of, male is the head of the household. And, to a certain point, I'm fine with it, with those aspects, but it does cause an issue when it becomes unequal in the sense of like you need spousal permission for things like that, right? Especially if you're not in a positive, open, communicative relationship, that is going to be an issue.
That's a problem with the place being largely patriarchal.
But I do think there is one aspect that gives me hope for Japan that is very different from, like, the situation is not great. I mean, it's awful now in certain states in certain states in America. And it's not the greatest in Japan, right? But the thing that does give me hope for Japan is that this mindset is, the reason it's like this is based on this old style way of thinking, and it's not based on any religious views that are considered to be inherently true, right? And I think that's a huge difference, which makes me hopeful that for Japan's case at least, it's only a matter of time, because things are slowly but surely, they are moving more towards equality and progress between males and females.
I've noticed the change, dealing with that country for 20 some odd years now. Change does happen.
It does. It's slow.
But it's fucking molasses. But I have seen over the years the changes. From certain aspects where it's like
Like,
used to be this way for like 50 years, and then all of a sudden,
can you name
the
anything
women are.
specific?
I'm trying to think. That's specific. Erg. Can I get back to you on that?
Sure.
It'll come to me.
Sure.
Do you have any examples? Like I would have had this in the chamber 10 years ago, but like I haven't thought about it recently. So but there are aspects where I've thought like, okay, all right, they are changing a little too slow for my liking, but at least it's changing.
But at
in
least
a positive direction.
And at least there's none of this like religious bullshit that's just mixed into you know what I mean?
So that makes it so that at the very least, when people start to die off from a previous generation, then the young generation can like take the reins or whatever,
Yeah.
and pull it into the future, without, like you say, the religious aspect, the religious bullshit, which that
when you
stays
base
around,
it,
right?
Yeah, when you base it on that, it I feel like it becomes so much more difficult to uproot its, because if your whole like thought process is like, this is an inherently true fact that we are basing our laws on, like it's more difficult to argue versus like if you're just, well, this is the way it's always been done, but I guess we can change it little by little, like it's there's
you always have that thing to fall back on. You always be like, well, here's our our rule book, the Bible or whatever they believe in, or they can always be like, even if people like die,
this is
you
what
can pass that on to your kids or whatever, that belief system.
And this is
and
what
be like, well, my dad said, and this Bible said,
Yeah.
Whereas,
and, like, because if you believe that this is the truth, that's like a big. It's much more difficult to argue against, I guess. And that's like one of the things that I really love about Japan is like religion is not really, it's a very different feeling. Like, of course, like weddings will be, either, there's different styles of like Shinto style wedding or just wedding in front of friends, or like Christian style wedding, but it's not like most of the time it's not because the people doing it are religious. It's more of like, that's like the image they've seen in movies and stuff, and so that they want to kind of experience it in that way, which is
religion in Japan is not pervasive. It's largely cultural, so it's like
and like everybody eats KFC on Christmas, and
nothing to do with Jesus Christ.
Nothing to do with Jesus. And then you celebrate, you go to the shrine on New Year's and you celebrate like the seasonal changes. And then for funerals, most of the time it's Buddhist funerals, so it's like it's a whole mashup of things, right? And it's no particular like, it's very fluid, that's the word.
It's like the Jewish people here there's a lot of like cultural Jews.
They
just do the Mazel Tov or whatever, but they don't actually believe in the God stuff. And so in Japan it's a lot like that. They go to the temple and they put their hands together and they pray or whatever. But it's not because they actually believe that. It's just because it's the thing you do, passed on from generation to generation, and you do the thing, and then you go home, and you don't think about it.
You do the thing because that's the thing you do, right?
You do the thing. Everybody does the thing on New Year's Day. They go to the temple and they pray to the gods, quote unquote gods, and they go home and drink sake.
Well, if we're gonna clarify, for New Year's, it's the shrine. Just to clarify.
Shrine. Yeah.
But, you know, again, like the temples and shrines at one point in history, they were very, very close. And a lot of temple complexes were like right next to the shrine complex. Like they were kind of mirrors of each other. So like the Buddhist gods and the, you know, the Japanese gods. And yeah, anyway. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is like this basis, and whatever happened to the separation of church and state? Like this is what's like mind-boggling, right?
It's a weird thing. Like if you go to like places like I think Sweden as well, but definitely the UK, they don't have a separation of church and state. But for the most part, I don't feel like a lot of their population aren't religious. America, we are the opposite. We have a separation of church and state in theory, but it's so invasive.
It's
the
so,
religious aspect.
Yeah, like I honestly just can't. I
feel like it's like a sort of like a. I feel like it's like a kind of like a pushback. Like, oh, you say we can't do this thing, we're gonna do this thing. In the UK as well, it's like, well, there's a state religion. Screw that. We're not gonna believe in that. And here it's the opposite. It's like you can't tell me I can't mix the two. I'm gonna go ahead and mix the two. See if you can stop me. And apparently we're not stopping them. So,
I mean, like the basis of, you know, abortion being against the life that is assumed to be life is at conception, right? That's completely religious, right? Like,
oh yeah.
And
100%. So
if you're banning abortion based on that, how is that in any way or form separation of religion? Like,
it's not. They don't follow the rules. They don't care. It's as I said. You say we can't do this thing. We're gonna go ahead and do this thing because my religious text tells me like I can or whatever.
You know, like, so even outside of just abortion, right? There's various contraceptives available, right? So
Yeah.
in the States, I hope there's still morning after pill. I guess in some states, at least for sure there is, but I don't know how
It
that's
exists,
being
yeah.
affected with this thing now too. Do you
I would
know?
have to assume they toss out. I don't know specifically, but I would assume the states where they don't want to provide that service, they would toss out all their pills if they had them to begin with. You know,
Because there's a lot of like a lot of people against abortion in general are, you know, against Planned Parenthood and
Yeah.
facilities like that too, right? Which is
yeah. Who by the way provide services other than
yeah,
just abortion.
yeah.
It's a lot of just bodily health,
So
female specifically female health.
so in Japan, apparently,
Yeah.
the morning after pill is only available by prescription.
How so how does that work? If it's the morning after, do you go to the hospital
Okay, well,
directly after you
hold
had
on,
sex and say, hey doc, I just had sex like 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, and I don't think the guy pulled out, so I'm gonna need that pill. Like, what are the parameters? What are the steps or the rules?
Okay, so I'm actually looking this up as I'm talking to you, but
Yeah.
So you have to take it within 72 hours of intercourse, right?
Okay, all right. That makes more sense.
But
I didn't know the rules of the morning after pill.
But of course, the earlier the better. And
So the efficacy of it drops if you wait too long. Like if you get it
Yeah.
on the 71st hour.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
probably. I think that's what that means. So apparently, within 72 hours, it's 80% of avoiding pregnancy, and it can cost between 6,000 to 20,000 yen, which is I think in the States.
Jesus.
But I think
I think it's cheaper than that. Eh?
in the States, like I think I got it like once or so, and I believe it was like $70.
Oh, really?
So
I'm looking it up. The lowest I see it is $46.
Oh,
So maybe I guess the price has gone down.
or my memory could just be wrong, but
Oh, there are two that are over the counter, and that's anywhere from 10 to 50. And if you're under 17 and need a prescription, I guess that's the rule. The price changes there, but you can't get it over the counter, so that's good. Here in America.
so I guess in Japan, like the reason they want you to get it through a doctor every time rather than over the counter is because they don't want people to think that you can use it as like a regular contraception method, which I do understand because there is the sex ed in Japan is not very good. I think like
Worse than here, huh? Does it exist? I think it's non-existent, isn't it? I
Hello?
wouldn't know, but I haven't heard of
I can't
anybody
hear you.
or any of my friends talking about the sex education they got in high school or anything like that. If anybody knows anything different, please let us know. Let me know.
Yeah, so it's not very good, and there's like a lot of